some new definitions that you should have all already seen. If you have not seen the new definitions, by all means, do let myself know or Ryan know, and we'll make sure that those are communicated to you. So the purpose of the next 30 minutes is really to look at how we're going to be logging this new HS&E preventive ratio. And we're really going to be looking at an interim mode and then the long-term solutions for doing that. And so let me talk about the interim, which is probably the easiest way for us to track it at the moment. So when I'm thinking in terms of interim, I'm thinking in terms of the data that we're going to be inputting for the month of May. So that data is generally, for every month, the data is generally due for the 15th of the following month. So of course, we're not done with the month of May yet, right? So that data will be required by mid-June. And at the present, we were supposed to be moving right from the spreadsheets to Enablon. Unfortunately, we've come across some Enablon upgrade issues that are delaying this. So we have uploaded some additional spreadsheets into the PQ Vision site that that is common for you to go to at the present. And there's a lot of stuff on this slide, but for the most part, I will share this with you afterwards. But for the most part, there are links to the PQ Vision page, and I'll go there live. And then it just indicates at the bottom in the lower right with the 3 yellow arrows, it shows the 3 new spreadsheets. These spreadsheets are intended to be used for the May data. And I'll show you what that looks like. So let me just get out of here. Let me go to the preventive ratio. And of course, you should all be familiar on how to get to the preventive ratio right now. If you go to locations, plant operations, and then select preventive ratio, you will be greeted with this screen. So up till now, and let me make this a little larger to make sure that you can all see what I'm showing you. Up till now, you have been updating the data in one of the spreadsheets that are starting with a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For performance chemicals and catalysts and Conshohocken, you have now 3 new spreadsheets to use for the month of May. So what does that mean? It means that these prior spreadsheets, and you're going to notice that there is some new information in the title. It says until April 2021. Okay, so these for the data that you have for your facilities until the end of April, it should be in the old spreadsheets. Anything that is for May needs to be entered in one of the new spreadsheets. Okay, so Aaron, and I think you're on the line. Conshohocken has been combined with Catalyst just for trying to reduce the number of spreadsheets, and there are essentially, only 3 of you using that spreadsheet. So you don't have your own separate at this point.
Okay, I'll share, no problem.
Thank you. And for the rest, it would be split up the same way. So we have Europe and Asia Pacific, and we've got then North America and Latin America. So Brazil, Mexico, US, Canada are all contained in this lower spreadsheet. So let me just give you a sense for what this spreadsheet looks like. And I'm just going to open it in a mode right now just to show you the content. And this is all included into this PowerPoint that I will share with you. But when you look at the spreadsheet, and let me make this a little larger, The intent of the spreadsheet is to have the same feel that you will have in Enablon. So it is changed from what you are accustomed to, because up till now, as you remember, the spreadsheet had a tab for each facility. Now we have one table. All the facilities are listed across the top. So it's a question about finding your facility. What you're not going to get on this new spreadsheet, because we are aligning with the new definitions, you're not going to get graphical representation at this point. The graphical representation, you may recall, is a 6-month rolling average. So really, when we're looking at this with the new data, we are looking for having 6 months worth of data before we're going to be able to show data points on a graph. Um, so the feel of the spreadsheet is intended to mimic what you're going to experience in Enablon. And I'll show you in a moment what it looks like in Enablon. But you will see that similar to what you're accustomed to, you've got the number of employees that you have to enter at the top. You've got your participation data. Now, just keep in mind the participation data doesn't necessarily go right into calculations of the preventive ratio, but it is there as an indicator when we're doing verifications into the system to see how broadly utilized or broadly you see a sense of participation at a site relative to events or elements that are linked to health, safety, and environment. So you will see below that your leading indicators, right? And these are fairly similar, although we have updated a lot of these definitions. What you don't see in the spreadsheets are any of the definitions. So in order to get to the definitions at this point with the spreadsheet, you're going to have to go to that other presentation that was provided to you with the definitions in it. And that will give you an indication as to what it is that you're intended to be inputting in here. The other thing that you've got, of course, that's new, the competency tracking. That wasn't there before. So that's a brand new line item that you're going to see here. Okay. So the system is really looking for you to fill in everywhere where it is light yellow, and then it will do its own calculations. Okay, so in the sense of total leading indicators, of course, it's just a summation of everything that you're inputting here. Okay. When we get into the lagging indicators, um, when we get to Enablon, many of these will be extracted from the Enablon system already, because when you have events, you know, first aid, level 1s, level 2, level 3s, these will be extracted right from the Enablon system. So you're not going to have to do a re-input. However, in the spreadsheet, you still have to continue to manually add your lagging events. So when we're thinking in terms of that, you have all your categories, and really nothing much changes here relative to your potential categories, except I think we've expanded a little bit when we're talking about the life-saving behaviors. And the calculations, this you won't have access, but you can see the calculation. It is linked to other information that we look at when we're doing our calculations leading to lagging indicators. So it's not a direct calculations of this one plus this one plus this one. It is really linked to, there are some factors depending on the severity of your lagging indicators. So of course, if you have a level 3 release, or you have a recordable injury, or we are dealing with uh, um, all of our indicators at the bottom here. These are all the areas where you will be impacted the most, and this is represented into the formula. So if you were to expand and, oops, oh, actually you won't be able to expand, but I explain it. It is explained into maybe what I will do is I'll try to make that expanded, but it is explained into the other material that you will get. But this doesn't change from what you are experiencing right now on how we calculate our total lagging indicators. And at the bottom of the page, this is all calculated information. When you get to enable on, this will be based on a 6 month rolling average. But right now, in order for you to see what's happening with the data that you're inputting, we're giving you the information that will be calculated per the information that you're inputting at the top. So anything that is in the white, this is not an area that you can do any entry. And if you were to try to input anywhere, you're going to get an error message. Okay. So pretty straightforward. You need to input the information in the yellow. Any questions relative to this particular spreadsheet?
No.
Okay, so let me close this. Okay, so I'm going to remind you the same information or instructions apply when you want to extract or start inputting your data into the spreadsheet. You need to check it out. It's very important that you do that. It tells other users that you're basically in control of that spreadsheet. Once you are done with the spreadsheet, it is extremely important that you check it back in. In order to do that, you will basically save the document, and keep in mind that you do not use save as. You save the document and the document should prompt you to check it back in. Once you've got it checked back in, it shouldn't show your name any longer. Okay, so in this particular case, so these two individuals have it checked out to them. So once they check it back in, then their name won't show. Okay, so same process as before.
Jenny,
So
just
let
a
me,
quick question about the spreadsheet. So if enable on isn't able, if we're not able to input, say, June's data in July, will there just be another sheet that comes up for June data?
so that's an excellent question. So let me show you. And there won't be a need for it because it's already there. You don't see it, but let me just do this for a second. And let me do this. And there's actually hidden spreadsheets below. So there's the one for June. And June will be the last one we may need. So it's already there. Okay. I just
Jane,
hid it for now. Yep.
Jane, just a suggestion uh, for us to check when we are inputting the numbers, the values. Now in the leading indicators, you have a total, or you have a total in the lagging indicators. We could have a total in the SWE completed too.
Let me so you want to have a total in where?
Oh no, it's there it is true. I think it's in the SWO, but they are different information. So that's it. No, I think it's not applicable. What I was thinking. I'm sorry,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
applicable. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. And if you do come across something that you think would be helpful, then definitely look at it. But just look at it at this point. This is interim. And it just permits us to do the transition because we want to get moving to the new preventive ratio definitions. So I just went ahead and inputted the next sheet in case we had a need for it, and I'm hoping we don't have a need for it. But definitely Ryan, I'm going to go on record to say we will not need one for July.
Sounds good.
So everybody heard it. So let me close this. Okay. So let me just now, and let me just take a peek here. And I just want to make sure I'm covering all the elements. So you're going to see in here, of course, the common things. You got to get it in there by June 15, right? This is the what I just showed you live. And where it's white, they're calculated fields, and where it's yellow, this is where you're intended to be inputting the data, okay? Um, So that takes care of the spreadsheet. And again, this is just a bridging. We were intended to go right into Enablon. Of course, like I've said, we've run into some issues. But at the end of the day, when you're going to be doing the input at some point, and I'm hoping the June data will be here, but definitely the July data will be into Enablon. The intent is that when you're going to be doing your input, the feel of the spreadsheet into Enablon is going to be similar to what you're seeing in the Excel spreadsheet, right? So the intent is that we're going to be uploaded, whatever you're uploading into the Excel spreadsheet in May and perhaps in June, we will then take that data and we will upload it to Enablon. So you're not going to have to redo that, okay? So let me just go into Enablon and just show you what that's going to look like. Um, every user that will have the ability to view information into the preventive ratio area for Enablon, or will be involved with the inputting of the data or the validation of the data. By the way, I'm using the word validation. I'm working to try to eliminate that step, but right now it is a step that is into the Enablon system. So I'm going to use that at the present. But you will have the ability to see areas into the system that will be very clear relative to here's where we're inputting the information. So a questionnaire is what the system sends you via an email to tell you to do your input. So guess what? You don't have to remember to go and input your data. The system will send you an email and with a link, and it will tell you, hey, you are required to input your data. Generally, that email will go out around the first of the month, and will close out by the mid month. So by June 15, or in your case for the data of May, the May data. And the reasoning behind that is we do want that data so we can actually get the information on the preventive ratio, right? So we want to make sure it's going to be inputted in the required timeline. So you have different ways to look at it. So you can look at it from your front dashboard. You will also be able to see it under this section here that says metrics. And let me try to make this a little bit bigger. So you will see under my apps, when you have the access to it, you will see metrics. And under metrics, you will have then your campaigns. You can see campaigns in here, and you can also see your data management. This is where you're doing your input. So this is equivalent to clicking here, input questionnaire. I just went a different route. The other thing is that you're going to have the route of using the email. Just keep in mind when you get an email from Enablon at the present time, you have to have Enablon opened up, or in order for the link in the email to work, or double click the link in the email. So you click it once, click it again, it will take you to the required questionnaire. So there's just a lot of ways to get to what you need to get to. Your questionnaires will be logged into a table. I'm seeing a lot here because I'm in as a central admin. You will not see as much as I'm seeing right now, but whatever questionnaire that needs to be acted on will be showing in this form. In this particular case, this one is draft. The one that we're concerned about is preventive ratio. This one was linked to January data. And of course, this is only a trial, but you will click on view, and you should all be used to this. Whenever you're looking at Enablon, it works all the same way. Things get captured into tables. You click on view to actually view the information. And let me just unpin this. And there's your actual sheet where you're going to be entering the data. Exactly the same as I've showed you with the Excel spreadsheet. You will see that anything that is in red, generally, this is data that is pulled from Enablon. In some cases, we have also made this data available for manual entry. And for instance, hazard IDs, not everyone is entering them into Enablon, and that's fine. So that means that you have still the ability to input it manually. But if it's red, it's because the system will attempt to pull it from what you've entered in the event side of things. The other thing that the system will show you are your previous month data. So you can always do a verification in the current month. And you can see that there's a lot more in the lagging indicators that the system will be pulling, right? From what it is already inputted. And then you have your calculations at the bottom. And this is your preventive HS&E ratio and the 6 months calculations. What you will also get, and I can't show you that right now because again, I'm not ready to go live with this, but there will be a dashboard for the preventive ratio. So that means that you and others at your facility will be able to see your facility and then how that does that compare to other facilities. Very similar to what you currently see in the spreadsheets, but you will see it for the whole business, right? So if you're in Catalyst, you will see it for Catalyst. If you're in Performance Chemicals, you will see it for Performance Chemicals. So you're not going to be just looking at Europe, for instance, right? So you'll be able to see everything. So those dashboards will be going live at the same time as you will be able to input your data into this particular sheet. So if you're looking at this particular sheet, you will edit it. And you know what? Now it doesn't matter if somebody else is also uploading their data, right? You're going to be, if there's 10 of you at the same time, the system doesn't really care for that. So you can edit and you can submit. So you're not waiting for others, right, to check a spreadsheet back in. And that's one of the nice things about this is that we can all go in at whatever is convenient to you, right? So you'll be entering your data in here. Where there is ability to enter either from Enablon, it will show a number from Enablon, but let's say that number is 0 because you're not using it, or the number is 5 and you haven't entered all your hazard IDs, for instance, you have the pencil. If you click on the pencil, now you will have the ability to edit. Okay, so there is flexibility. Where you will not have the flexibility to do that will be in first aids, because they should be in Enablon. Level 1 and 2s and level 3s should be in Enablon. Recordables, notice of violations should all be into Enablon. So these, the expectation is that it is, and the number will be pulled directly from the data into Enablon. Okay, so it's important that you will maintain the events as they occur at your sites. So if you want the data to be representative as we're moving along from month to month, you have to maintain this information into Enablon to be fairly accurate, right? So that's all you've got. And the other thing, and for those of you that have multiple sites, when you go into the data, you can also see the other sites here, right? You can see how far along they are, and you can easily switch. And I'm going to just, I'm not going to save the data, and I'm going to leave this because this is just for demo purpose only. But now I'm on the Toronto one, right? So you can actually see the data from one side to the other, right? So this is one way to look at it from the form, and then you'll have the dashboard that you'll be able to visualize all of this information as you go. Any question relative to this? Okay, I don't hear anything. I know you will not be using this particular form for at least another month and a half. By that time, it might be worthwhile to do a little bit of a review, especially for the HSNE folks that are on the line. It will be useful to do another little review with your facilities to make sure that they understand. And if we need to do another 15-minute to run through this when this becomes live, I'm more than happy to do it. I don't think it's as complex as management of change or inputting an event, for instance, into the system. This is pretty straightforward. One window, enter your data, you save it, and you move along. So let me just cancel this, and let me just make sure that I've got, and you're going to have all the ways to enter the data, and I'm showing that all in the spreadsheet, in the PowerPoint, how to input your information. So you've got step by steps, and this is all, so this is another area in here, and I didn't show that, but you have places into the system to enter information. So if you wanted to enter some additional comments, so let's say you had something special, like for instance, number of employees, right? Perhaps we still have some furlough going on. Perhaps there's other reasons why that particular data might be different from one month to the other. So you have places to enter information to keep track. You can upload attachments if you want, and then we can look at trend if there is data that already exists. Of course, if you don't have previous data, the trend won't work on each one of the items. So there's quite a bit of information in here, and you'll see once we extract the dashboards for preventive ratio, this is, you're going to forget about the spreadsheets. This will be so much better. Any other questions relative to what I just showed?
Yes, Jenny. So when the platform is will be live, so you are going to click in questionnaires, and the program will lead you to the site, or you have to click to choose your plant.
No, it would lead you right to your site.
Okay, automatically.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So those that will see multiple sites are those that have multiple facilities, right?
okay,
So then you'll have the ability, because Marco, when you get a link, the link will take you to the right questionnaire for that particular site. But
okay.
let's say that you're doing the input for a couple sites, right?
Yes.
Then once you're done with the one questionnaire, as opposed to going clicking on another link, you can just go here and pull up the questionnaire for the other site and do the input right from there.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Yep.
Thank you.
Jenny, I got a question. For the input, if a person misses to put it by the due date, for instance, they're on vacation and you have a backup who has access to the preventive ratio site, what happens in that situation? Are they not able to backtrack, or it's just it won't be part of the calculation for the corporation?
Yeah, so we're not going to close out the campaign. So we have the ability within Enablon, when a campaign goes out, you have the ability to close out the campaign. So when you do that, that means that no one can continue to input data. We're not going to do that. So yes, the person can come back in and complete their questionnaire for that particular month, and then the data will get calculated, right? So, you know, if you're behind by a couple weeks due to vacation, you know, you'll just enter the data later.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. And that reminds me also, one of the things that is in here, and I know we're just slightly over time, information, the little I that you see here, this gives you those definitions, right? So what you have in the PowerPoint that with, you know, that's been provided right now with all the definitions are all included in here as well. So you've got them at your fingertip as well. So you don't need to have this other document. So that's a little bit of a bonus as well. Okay. Any other questions before we close out? All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jenny.
Thanks,
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Janie. Non deu tempo.